They say the brightest stars burn out the fastest, but what they don't tell you is that sometimes someone else reaches up and snuffs out that light on purpose. Ashlee wasn't just a headline. She was a daughter, a sister, a girl with dreams that didn't involve the dark, soul-crushing world she was forced into. Today, her family is finally breaking their silence, and their words will leave you shattered. Through tears and trembling voices, they are pointing a finger at one man, Joe McCann. They're calling it more than just influence. They're calling it a stolen life. Imagine the agony of a mother realizing her child was being pressured into a world of shadows, not for passion, but under the heavy, suffocating thumb of manipulation. But here is the most chilling part, the part that will haunt you. Reports are emerging that while the world saw a partnership, Ashlee was living a nightmare. She didn't just want out. She hated the very person the world thought she was closest to. Was she a willing participant, or was she a prisoner in a golden cage? Get ready, because this isn't just gossip. This is the heartbreaking tragedy of a girl who lost herself before she ever had a chance to find out who she really was. To understand the magnitude of this tragedy, we have to look back at who Ashlee was before the world knew her name for all the wrong reasons. She was a vibrant soul, a girl whose laughter used to fill her family home with a warmth that has now been replaced by a cold, echoing silence. Growing up, Ashlee wasn't looking for notoriety. She was looking for a way to make her mark on the world, a way to provide for those she loved. But then came the turning point, the moment her path crossed with Joe McCann. To her family, this wasn't just a meeting, it was the beginning of the end. Joe McCann didn't enter her life like a villain in a movie. No, he entered as a mentor, a visionary who promised her the world. He saw the spark in Ashlee, but while her family saw a daughter with potential, Joe reportedly saw a commodity. In the beginning, the change was subtle. A girl who used to call home every night started becoming distant. The light in her eyes, once so bright, began to dim behind a mask of professional makeup and forced smiles. Her family watched from the sidelines, feeling the girl they raised slip through their fingers, replaced by a persona they didn't recognize. But who is Joe McCann? If you ask the industry, they might tell you he's a strategist. But if you ask Ashlee's family, they describe an architect of misery. They portray him as a man who understands the exact price of a human soul. They claim Joe didn't just offer Ashlee a career. He built a cage around her, one made of financial contracts and psychological debt. According to those closest to her, Joe mastered the art of the slow burn, isolating her from her support system until the only voice she could hear, and the only person she felt she owed her survival to, was him. The conflict didn't start with a loud explosion. It started with a whisper. It was the moment Ashlee's mother noticed her daughter's hands trembling during a visit. It was the moment her brother realized that Ashlee wasn't buying luxury cars because she wanted them, but because she was being told they were necessary for the brand Joe was building. The family started seeing the cracks in the facade. They saw the bruises that weren't always physical, the exhaustion of a girl who was being worked to the bone in a trade that was slowly killing her spirit. Every time they tried to pull her back, Joe was there to tighten the grip. The family alleges that he used Ashlee's own vulnerabilities against her, making her believe that she was nothing without his guidance. This is the classic dynamic of power and control, a dark dance where the music never stops until someone breaks. For Ashlee, the breaking point was approaching faster than anyone realized. The girl who used to dream of a quiet life was now the face of a world she supposedly loathed, trapped in a cycle of exploitation that was being marketed to the public as empowerment. As we peel back the layers of this introduction, it becomes clear that the Ashlee the public saw on screen was a character written, directed, and produced by Joe McCann. While the world clicked and watched, a family sat at home, mourning a girl who was still alive but felt worlds away. This was the setup for the disaster. A young woman caught between the desperate love of her family and the cold, calculated ambitions of a man who refused to let his star go, no matter the cost to her humanity. As the cameras kept rolling and the views kept climbing, the atmosphere behind the scenes was turning into a suffocating pressure cooker. This wasn't just a career move anymore. According to her family, it had become a systematic stripping away of Ashlee's dignity. They describe a period where the financial bait became a hook that she couldn't unshake. Every time she expressed doubt, every time she cried about wanting a normal life, the narrative was allegedly shifted back to the money, the fame, and the debts she supposedly owed to the man who made her. The family's statements are gut-wrenching. They speak of a daughter who was being gaslit into believing that her only value lay in the very industry that was making her skin crawl. Imagine the psychological warfare of being told that your body is your only currency. The allegations suggest that Joe McCann didn't just suggest this path. He engineered a reality where Ashlee felt she had no other choice. It was a masterclass in mental exhaustion. Her family claims that Joe would use her love for them as a weapon, suggesting that if she stopped, the lifestyle she provided for her loved ones would vanish, leaving her responsible for their downfall. It was a heavy, cruel burden for a young woman to carry, and it forced her deeper into a world of shadows. Then came the official entry into the industry, a move that sent shockwaves through her household. Her family describes the day they found out as the day their hearts truly broke. There were no celebrations, only screams and tears. They pleaded with her to come home, to leave the contracts behind, to forget the money. But the grip was too tight. The pressure wasn't just coming from Joe. It was coming from the industry's relentless demand for more. Ashlee was caught in a whirlwind of shoots, appearances, and performances that left her a ghost of her former self. Her mother recalls phone calls where Ashlee would simply sob into. The receiver, unable to put into words the level of coercion she was facing, only to hang up when a door opened or a voice, Joe's voice, was heard in the background. This was the financial trap in its most sinister form. To the outside world, she was a success story, a woman taking control of her narrative. But to those who knew her heart, she was a prisoner of a contract she never truly wanted to sign. The industry entry wasn't an act of rebellion or a search for freedom. Her family insists it was a surrender. It was the moment she stopped fighting the current and let the darkness pull her under, convinced by Joe that the light would never find her again. The reaction from her family was one of pure, unadulterated desperation. They didn't just watch, they fought. They tried to intervene, but they claimed Joe McCann had built a wall of legalities and psychological barriers around her that they couldn't penetrate. He had become the gatekeeper to her life. Every interaction was monitored, every visit was timed, and every word she spoke seemed scripted. The girl who once shared every secret with her mother was now a stranger behind a high-gloss finish. The tragedy lies in the gap between the public image and the private agony. While the internet debated her choices and critics judged her lifestyle, Ashlee was reportedly drowning in a sea of pressure that no amount of money could justify. Her family's accusations paint a picture of a woman who was sold a dream but given a nightmare, all under the watchful, calculated eye of a man who saw her not as a person, but as a gold mine to be excavated until there was nothing left but dust. The deeper we dig into this story, the more the polished image of a partnership begins to crumble, revealing a foundation of resentment and hidden pain. This is where the story shifts from tragic to truly haunting. While the world watched their collaborations, thinking they were seeing a team, new reports and leaked communications suggest that behind closed doors, Ashlee didn't just want distance. She reportedly felt a deep, burning hatred for Joe McCann. It was a relationship built on a paradox. The more they were seen together, the more she wanted to be away from him. The inside truth is a jagged pill to swallow. Sources close to the situation have begun to describe a woman who felt her soul was being eroded day by day. There are accounts of Ashlee sitting in dressing rooms, staring at her reflection with a look of pure disgust, not at herself, but at the situation she was anchored to. The contrast is jarring. In public, Joe would post about their success and their bond, portraying himself as her protector and her biggest fan. But in private, the mask would slip. The reports suggest that Ashlee viewed him not as a savior, but as a parasite, someone who was feeding off her youth, her beauty, and her life force to build his own empire. Leaked messages and eyewitness accounts from those on set tell a story of a silent war. They describe moments where Ashlee would refuse to look Joe in the eye, where her body language screamed for escape even as she followed his directions. There were whispers of heated arguments where she would beg for a break, only to be reminded of the deadlines and the investors. This wasn't a girl in love with the limelight. This was a girl who felt she was being sacrificed to it. The reported hatred wasn't just a petty grudge. It was the natural reaction of someone who realized they were being used as a tool rather than being treated as a human being. The most heartbreaking part of this inside truth is the silence she had to maintain. Imagine the psychological toll of having to smile and stand next to the person you blame for your misery. Every post, every video, and every public appearance was a betrayal of her true feelings. Her family believes that this internal conflict, This war between her public persona and her private loathing is what truly broke her. She was living a double life where the star was a lie and the prisoner was the truth. This brings us to the ultimate question of agency. Was she a partner, or was she a victim? The industry often blurs these lines, calling exploitation hustle and manipulation management. But the reports of Ashlee's hatred change everything. They suggest that there was no consent of the heart, only a signature on a piece of paper. The evidence points to a girl who felt she had been tricked into a lifestyle that violated her core values. The contrast between Joe's public stance, his proud mentor routine, and the reported reality of Ashlee's private misery is a chilling reminder of how easily a nightmare can be packaged as a dream. As we look at the fragments of her final days in that environment, the picture is one of a woman who had simply run out of air. The hatred she reportedly felt for Joe wasn't just about him. It was about what he represented: the loss of her autonomy, the commercialization of her body, and the theft of her future. She wasn't just a girl who reportedly hated him. She was a girl who was fighting to find a version of herself that he hadn't already touched, branded, and sold to the highest bidder. As we reach the end of this heartbreaking chapter, we are left with a silence that is louder than any headline. This story isn't just about the dark side of an industry or the fall of a rising star. It is a mirror reflecting a terrifying reality about power, manipulation, and the cost of a human soul. Ashlee's journey, from a girl with a bright smile to a woman trapped in what her family calls a prison of glass, serves as a haunting reminder that things are rarely what they seem behind the glow of a screen. But now, the conversation belongs to you. We have laid out the allegations from a family in mourning and the reports of a hidden hatred that Ashlee reportedly carried until the very end. The question that remains is one of justice and truth. Do you believe that Joe McCann was truly the architect of her downfall? Or was Ashlee caught in a system much bigger than any one person? Can someone truly be pressured into this life? Or does the responsibility fall on the industry that profits from these tragedies? Your voice matters in this. We want to hear your thoughts in the comments below, but we ask that you keep them respectful, keeping in mind that there is a real family behind these names who is still grieving a profound loss. If this story touched you, if it made you rethink the way we consume digital media, or if you feel that Ashlee's story deserves to be told with dignity, please hit the like button. It helps ensure that stories like hers aren't buried by the algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications. We are committed to digging deeper into these investigative narratives, bringing you the truths that others are too afraid to speak. Stay tuned for our next update, where we will look into the legal aftermath of these allegations. Until then, hold your loved ones close, and remember that not everything that glitters is gold. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.